Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be covering the top 5 assault rifles here in Modern Warfare 2 Season 4. Now keep in mind these are going to be my top 5 favorite assault rifles. Your list could be completely different, and I'm extremely interested to hear what exactly all of you are rocking with. Feel free to go down in the comment section, give me your top 5 assault rifles, give me the builds, give me the setups, give me everything. I'm very curious to what everybody's running with. Think of my list more as a guideline to how to build your assault rifles. I have builds for aggressive players, builds for extremely low recoil and slow players, and everything in between. Let's not put off any more time. Let's jump into it. So we're going to be starting the list at number 5 with the Lockman 556. This weapon received a lot of buffs in the past season. The only problem is it's a slower player's weapon, meaning it only suits kind of one player base. For the aggressive players, this weapon tends to fall off because it's not exactly good at close range, but it really does thrive at long range with very low recoil. Let's start back here with a stock on this one, and it's going to be the Lockman S9 Factory. Just because it's a slower paced weapon doesn't mean you don't need aggressive attributes to get your gun up quickly or move around the map quickly in case of a close range engagement. And this gives you sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, along with aim down sight speed, and by far the best stock you can be running on this weapon. Tuning, we got negative 2.32 towards your aim down sight speed and negative 0.54 towards the aim walking speed. Now for a rear grip, I have the LMK64 for again some sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. As you can see, the handling and mobility is really where this weapon's lacking the most, and by giving you a little bit, it's going to help you just in case of those close range encounters. Tuning, we got plus 0.42 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.23 towards the sprint to fire speed. For the underbarrel, you want the FTAC Ripper 56. Now we're getting into the slower paced attachments. The FTAC Ripper 56 gives you that massive increase to your recoil stabilization in order to make it very easy to take long range fights. It also gives you hipfire accuracy and aiming idle stability. Our tuning here is going to be negative 0.49 towards aim down sight speed and negative 0.22 towards the aim walking speed. For the barrel, the most important attachment of the build is going to be the Lockman Wrap. That's going to give you bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and then some hipfire accuracy. Obviously, that damage range and recoil control, even bullet velocity, is going to significantly help you in the longer range fights, which, like I said, is where this weapon thrives the most. Tuning, we got negative 0.18 towards your aimed walking speed and negative 0.19 towards the aim down sight speed. For a muzzle, I'm going to call this one like a optional attachment, I suppose. This one you could swap out for an optic or a muzzle if you so please. This just fits my personal playstyle to get the gun up quicker, giving you aim down sight speed with 0 cons to running it. Is the Slogger Pack Box IV. So this is an attachment for my more aggressive players that's trying to use this weapon, but for the slower pace, like I said, chuck on a muzzle, chuck on an optic if you so please. Our tuning here is going to be negative 0.32 towards sprint to fire speed and negative 23.03 towards the aim down sight speed. All right, so at number 4, we're going to have the M13B. This was my honorable mention from my top 5 weapons list a couple of weeks ago. This weapon is good at all ranges. It's similar to the M4, but the reason it's not going to be above the M4 is the M4 just kind of does it better. The only thing this really has over the M4 is going to be the recoil pattern. There's virtually no recoil with this weapon whatsoever. It does have a faster fire rate, which technically means it's better at close range, but in my opinion, the M4 just has better mobility overall. I'm going to leave this one as a personal preference. I would say this is better used as for a slower player, but the M4 is probably for more aggressive players. So again here, we're going to be starting with the stock where I have the Bruin R9 Factory. This gives you aim walking speed and sprint speed to help you with your close range engagements and mobility around the map, but also gives you recoil control, which will help you, of course, with your long range engagements. This is a stock that I recently switched over to, and I've found nothing but success with. Our tuning for that attachment is negative 2.19 towards aim down sight speed and negative 1.23 towards the aim walking speed. Now, we're going to be heading over here to a rear grip where I have the Bruin Flash Grip. Similar to the last attachment, I do want some aggression in case of close range encounters, and this weapon does a very good job at close range because of the fire rate. This gives you, the Bruin Flash Grip is going to give you sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed, meaning you get your gun up quicker. Tuning, we got plus 0.45 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.30 towards the sprint to fire speed. For the underbarrel, we have the Commando foregrip for base recoil stabilization. As you can see there, we are taking away a tiny bit of aim down sight speed, but at the same time, it's not nearly as much as some of the other ones. And this is all the recoil stabilization you'll end up needing. Tuning, we got plus 0.03 towards recoil stabilization and negative 0.34 towards aim walking speed. For the muzzle, you want the FJX Fulcrum Pro, giving you vertical and horizontal recoil control to further help with your longer range engagement. It basically shoots a straight line when you add this muzzle to it. Tuning, we got negative 0.41 towards aim down sight speed and plus 0.21 towards the recoil control. Our last attachment and the most important attachment is the Bruin Echelon Barrel, giving you damage range and bullet velocity. And then, of course, we get some added recoil control and hipfire accuracy there. The damage range is the big attachment here, or the big attribute gained here. Before the buff of the M13, this weapon virtually was best used as an SMG because the damage range drop-off was just absolutely insane. Once they decided to buff up the damage range, this barrel made this thing absolutely gross, meaning at medium range and long range, you have an absolute dominant monster on your hands, and the fire rate giving you the close range kind of advantage there. Tuning for this attachment is plus 0.24 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.15 towards the aim down sight speed. Now at number 3, we have the M4, and I just stated that I think the M4 is better than the M13, but they do a similar job. I think this one is a better option at medium and close range, where the M13 ends up being a better option at long range, but altogether they're very, very similar. I personally enjoy the M4 more because I'm an aggressive player, but I can definitely see where the M13 may be up higher someone's list if they're a little slower playing than I am. Starting with the stock, once again, we have the Tempest P80 Strike, giving you sprint speed, aim walking speed, crouch movement speed, and aim down sight speed to help with the max aggression of the weapon. You are sacrificing aiming stability and recoil control, but later on in the build, you'll see why it's not all too big of a deal that we're losing some right now. So that just helps with your aggression, helps you in the close range. Tuning is plus 0.90 towards aim walking steadiness and plus 0.108 towards the aiming idle stability. For your rear grip, you want the Seiken ZX for base recoil control, help you in the long range encounters because this definitely has a significant kick to it. You do need recoil attachments on this weapon. Tuning is negative 0.35 towards aim down sight speed and negative 0.12 towards your sprint to fire speed. For the underbarrel, we have the FTAC Ripper 56 making an appearance here to help with that massive increase to recoil stabilization, virtually giving this weapon a straight shot. I'm sure you've used the M4 and it kind of likes to bounce around a lot. The FTAC Ripper 56 really helps with the side-to-side bounce on this weapon. It also gives you hipfire accuracy along with aiming idle stability. Tuning is negative 0.46 towards aim down sight speed, negative 0.27 towards the aim walking speed. Now for a muzzle, the FJX Fulcrum Pro, once again, for vertical and horizontal recoil control, just like the M13, it helps you significantly in the longer range fights. Even though it does have more bounce than the M13, I find that this does a very good job at the long range nonetheless. Tuning is negative 0.08 towards aim down sight speed, plus 0.19 towards the recoil control. For our last attachment, we have the High Tower 20-inch barrel. So I'm going to give you two options here. If you're a slower pace player, I'm going to tell you to run this barrel. I'll tune both attachments out that I'm going to be covering here. So the High Tower barrel gives you damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. But that being said, this is going to be for your slower pace players because you're going to be taking longer range fights. It's going to give you virtually a low recoil pattern. So tuning for that one is going to be plus 0.19 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.26 towards aim down sight speed. So we're going to be heading over here to another barrel that you can be using. That's going to be the 14-inch Carbon Shroud. What that's going to do is give you recoil control and bullet velocity, but we're not sacrificing nearly as much in the forms of aim down sight speed or aiming in walking speed. It's just a faster paced option that also controls recoil, so you can take medium range fights. I just covered this similar build not too long ago. Like I said, this is definitely better for the more aggressive players. So we're going to tune this one really quickly for you guys. I'm going to have your aim walking speed set about there to negative 0.21. Then we're going to set the aim down sight speed to right about here, negative 0.30. And that's going to be a much more well-rounded option for close, medium, and long-range play. At number 2, we have the newest addition to the assault rifles here in Modern Warfare 2, being the Tempest Razorback. Now, this can't be a number 1 weapon because it doesn't compete at all ranges. This is a very aggressive choice, meaning it's going to be very good at close and medium range because that's where it's going to thrive at the most with the fast fire rate. It's similar to the Maddox from Black Ops 4, the FFAR from Cold War. I just don't know better ways to compare that. It's not good at long range, which is strange for an assault rifle, but you still have an extremely aggressive SMG AR hybrid here. So let's start back here with a comb, the LTX Eclipse, which is going to give you sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Basically what I just said, and it's aggressive. It's an aggressive option, which means you're going to need some attachments to speed it up. And that's going to help with both the handling and mobility here, because we're going to be tuning it plus 0.26 towards recoil stabilization, negative 0.10 towards aim down sight speed. For the rear grip, I have the FLT22, again for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed, basically making it an SMG at this point when you add these two attachments together. And recoil isn't all too big of a deal. You're not going to be taking super long fights with this thing. Plus 0.55 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.20 towards sprint to fire speed is where I have that tuning. For an underbarrel, I have the Edge 47 grip, giving you some recoil stabilization here, along with aiming idle stability. Just because it's a fast-paced option, it's still technically an assault rifle, which means you're going to have to compete at medium range. So I do have some recoil attachments mixed in here. The Edge 47 does a good enough job when it comes to side-to-side bounce with the weapon. Tuning is negative 0.28 towards aim down sight speed and negative 0.13 towards aim walking speed. The biggest recoil attachment is going to be the FJX Fulcrum Pro here for vertical along with horizontal recoil control. This is the biggest attachment to help you in the medium range, and it has quite a wild kick to it without both the underbarrel and this muzzle here. This does a very good job at controlling it. I'm sure you saw that in the firing range. Tuning is negative 0.52 towards aim down sight speed and plus 0.11 towards your recoil control. Up next, we have the Slogger Pec Box IV, and this is going to be one of those I would say optional attachments. You don't have to run this one. If you want to run a magazine or an optic, feel free to do so. But personally, I like to have my aim extremely snappy with this weapon. And the Slogger Pec Box IV does a very good job of doing so, giving me aim down sight speed with 0 cons to running this one. So like I said, optional attachment, but if you're like me and you want that super snappy aim down sight speed, this is a very good option. Your tuning is going to be negative 0.35 towards sprint to fire speed, negative 31.26 towards your aim down sight speed. In at number 1, we have the TAC 56. I'm sure not many of you are surprised to see this one here. There's plenty of builds for the TAC 56 out there, but this one is my personal favorite. It kind of meets all of my needs. It's got a pretty decent aim down sight speed, a very good stray speed, very low recoil, and of course we're gonna have a barrel on there to help the damage range. And it's been the #1 assault rifle basically since the game came out, for good reason. So for the final time in this video, we're going to be starting with a stock, the TV Cardinal, giving you aim walking speed and sprint speed virtually to help with that stray speed overall, along with mobility around the map. But the big thing here, we're not sacrificing recoil control, so we're not really chalking our long range abilities. Tuning is going to be negative 1.42 towards aim down sight speed, negative 0.93 towards the aim walking speed. For the rear grip, I have the Demo Clean Shot grip, giving you sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Now, this is an attachment if you're a slower paced player that can be changed out if you want even more recoil control to the FSS Combat grip. But like I said, I have this kind of built out for everything: close range, medium range, long range, and that's why this attachment is kind of important in my opinion. But for slower paced players, I can see why this may not matter all too much. Tuning is going to be plus 0.32 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.26 towards the sprint to fire speed. For an underbarrel, the FSS Sharkfin 90, which gives you aiming idle stability, which is more or less a placeholder here for tuning. If you would like a little more recoil stabilization, I would highly recommend going with the Commando 4 grip here, but for the faster paced players, the FSS Sharkfin 90 does a very good job. Tuning, negative 0.41 towards aim down sight speed, negative 0.18 towards your aim walking speed. For the muzzle, once again making an appearance is the FJX Fulcrum Pro, vertical and horizontal recoil control, obviously to help you with your farther range fights. This is an attachment that I've seen changed around a lot, whether that be the Komodo, whether that be the ported, whether that be the Cronin OP44. It's just going to be a preference. Take the muzzles, try which one you like the most. Personally, it's the FJX Fulcrum Pro for me. Tuning is negative 0.18 towards aim down sight speed, plus 0.25 towards recoil control. And lastly, the 17.5-inch Tundra Pro barrel to take care of your long range engagements by giving you damage range and bullet velocity. Also a little bit of hipfire accuracy there, but the big two being the damage range and bullet velocity. This is what's really going to make this weapon excel in the longer ranges. Our tuning is going to be plus 0.15 towards recoil steadiness and negative 0.12 towards the aim down sight speed. So once again, I want you guys to go down in the comment section and tell me if you agree or disagree with my top 5 assault rifles here. Make sure you guys tell me exactly what your top 5 are so I can get a good look at what my viewers are actually using here in the game. I'd be happy to build some setups for your favorite weapons. Make sure you guys also hit the like and subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.